Cool, you are looking at me. How'd you like the patch, Mr. Pirate? Any comments? Anything at all? Nothing? Don't look at me then, that's fine. Totally fine, man. Okay, there you are again. Okay, so, what'd you think of the patch, huh? Come on, man. Talk to me. Please tell me what you thought about the patch. Ready, please? Any comments at all, Mr. Pirate? Camera shy? How about that? Pirate, talk to me. Please talk to me, Mr. Pirate. Oh, no comments? Okay. Alright then. Mr. Pirate has no comments at all. I think he squawked at me a little bit. So, we'll come back to that later. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to What's Up with Trove. This is episode number 12. So my mic is a little weird tonight. I'm not exactly sure why I'm getting low readings. So if I do drop out a little bit, I want to apologize in advance for that. Yeah, so without further ado, let's rock and roll. A quick heads up, I'm going to do this week's community spotlight first, so that way you can either follow along with it almost or check it out afterwards. It's up to you. But this week, gentleman or gentlewoman by the name of Matthieux Iux on the Trove forums wrote a guide on the new forging system. So I highly recommend that everyone should check that out on the forums. If you have any questions or unknownities during the discussion about this week's update, as well as in general with the new forging. It can be a little bit confusing at first, but once you get the hang of it, I think it's actually kind of neat. There are some flaws, but I'm sure that they will be fixed. Okay? So, this week, my Boomeranger is level 19. They did some fixes to it, fixed the bomb speed, and a whole bunch of other stuff for the class, buffed the damage, and geared him up a little bit. And I kind of do like him a bit more than I did originally. So, kind of going back a little bit on that, but I had to get some playtime on him, and he's an alright class. I still like my pirate a lot more. I also hit Mastery 96, and that's really about it. That's all I've really been doing this week. Doing tons of iPhone development with Swift and learning that, so it's taken up a lot of my time as well. But a quick heads up for next week. I'm not exactly sure at this moment whether or not there will be an episode. My uncle is coming down and we're going to put up some walls in my room. So I'll actually have a room downstairs, which is pretty awesome. If you look back, I think episode 1 actually shows the plastic that's up in my wall or in my room. I don't really have walls right now. It's just a corner of the basement with some plastic wrap. So it's going to be awesome when it's done, but some point next week is when that's going to be done, and there's going to be like construction going on in the room, dust going everywhere, so I'm actually going to pack up my computer and TV and everything pretty much and move it out of the room so that way nothing gets damaged. So I'm not exactly sure if the room will be done in time to do next week's episode, but yeah, so we'll see. If there's an episode, you'll know. If not, then there won't be an episode, and you'll see me in 2 weeks. Either way, there'll still be an episode at some point in time. Yay! Ooh, excuse me. It's been a very long day. So let's go ahead and hop into the news. This week, the Forge More Better edition came out. Kind of a grammar flaw there, but hey, it's a game, right? It's awesome. Basically, they I'll do in a weird order today. the store news, basically the usual, randomize the chest. They actually fixed the costume boxes to allow for Boomeranger costumes to drop from them as well. And also this week only, is a Pinata Pack sale. So the 50 and 100 Pinata Packs are 50% off this week. So if you haven't gotten any of the pinata mounts, I would recommend picking some of those up if you would like to, or saving them and selling them in the future or whatnot. It's a really good deal, so definitely check that out if you haven't bought any pinatas yet. And I think next week will be the summer pinata, as well as maybe the hinted at shadow pinata. But I don't know. We'll see, and see when that comes. But I'm thinking pretty soon they're going to replace the pinatas. So now on to the better news, the actual game news. So as I said a little bit ago, the Forge More Better edition has come out, and basically Tryon, the team for Trove, revamped the entire system of forging. So, like I said at the top of the show, there's a guide on the forums that someone wrote. It's really, really well in depth. I even read it over, and it cleared up a lot. So, if you're watching the video, there's a bouncing boot that flies around behind me. He's awesome. So he's just bouncing around there. Not as annoying as the bird from last week, 2 weeks ago. So, anyway, the Forge More Better edition. I'm gonna try my hardest to not make this a lecture sounding thing, but there are a lot of changes and it might be a little bit boring, and I apologize in advance for that. I really do. But basically they updated forging, removed forge level, and also hidden power level rolls. So those are gone. Zip, zilch, nada. No more forge level 25 shadow gear. Gone. Zip, poof, gone. And they revamped it all. So we'll start with equipment power. There are 5 power ranks per rarity. Basically starting at 0 stars and working its way up to 5. Basically, you level that up by spending flux, and it goes up in star value, up and up and up and up. After you hit the end of that value, it goes up in a ranking, and eventually you get to rainbow, and you level that up from rainbow to shadow, and so on and so forth after that, up to a maximum of 4 currently. So the max level you can actually get to right now, I believe, is 36. And so soon in the future, there's supposed to be an update to actually increase the shadow levels to 5. And that's coming in the future. Let's see. Bonus stats. There are still bonus stats, and they are still labeled by the little star appendices things. Shift 8 on your keyboard, if that's how you know it by. Bonus roll or bonus stats are still there, and they are still given with the pearl. The other cool thing about the pearl is now if you have 4 stats on your item, pearls will actually give you the little bonus appendice star on a random stat. So pearls actually have a lot more use from now forward. So basically, if you have 1 star next to a stat, it gives you 10% increase on that stat. And if you have 2, it gives you 20%. And those are random, completely random. It can drop on any gear at any time, at any level, and just be there. It's just kind of a bonus stat. And that's pretty much it for the bonus stats. Like I said earlier, there's 4 new shadow levels for shadow gear. Starts at 1, works its way up. And so basically, you instead of forge level, now it's just shadow levels, or levels up in the gear. And pretty much, Magic Find will drop anywhere between 1 and 4. And you just level up your gear via stars and flux and eyes. And at the end of a tier, I guess we'll say a tier level, it actually costs a weapon crate, weapon salvage, and you get those from disassembling gear of the same forge level. So if you disassemble a Forge level 2 item, you might get, you will get a Forge level 2 Shadow Cage Crystal thing. I'm not too certain about the name. I didn't write it down. Um, but basically, you increase your forge level by deforging other items to get more items to increase your forge level. It's a lot more expensive, but it's a lot less random, which is a good. It's a double-edged sword. If you weren't saving up ahead of time, which a lot of people were not, this system is kind of going to take you by surprise, and it's going to be a little bit of a disappointment at first. But I think eventually the flux levels will even out and become more accessible to everyone. And it's new, everyone's just adjusting. So it's a 50-50. Some people like it, some people don't. I'm kind of flat center. I don't really know how it feels. I'm going to have to play it for a week to get the hang of it. Also, forging. Perfect prisms now only work from resplendent to shadow. Resplendent is the rainbow rarity, the rainbow unicorn style item. So you only need one perfect prism to level up your gear from rainbow to shadow. So no more like low level gear having to be leveled up to get to level 10. Basically, if a piece of gear drops, you can forge it as you go, and it'll actually travel with you if you like the stats. Also, on the topic of stats, the Chaos Forge, that is where you take your tentacles and you reroll your stats. Previously, it would reroll every stat on your piece of gear that you put on the in the Shadow Forge. Now, when you put a piece of gear in Shadow Forge and you use your tentacle to re-roll it, one, it no longer takes eyes. It's just one straight tentacle to re-roll the stats. It will only re-roll the bottom two, the third and fourth slot of your gear. So make sure that when you put a piece of gear into the Shadow Forge or the Chaos Forge and you go to reforge your stats, know one of two things. That one, it is the third and fourth level stats on that shadow item or item that you're trying to randomize that will change. Apparently, there's a bug right now where the stats do not properly display in the forge, and so it might change the order. So don't believe what's on the gear, believe what is shown in the forge. A couple people were angry about that on the forums, and it's not exactly sure if it's a bug. I'm assuming it's a bug, but we'll know in the near future if it actually is. The other thing to really keep in mind about forging is it is now immediate. Rerolled stats are immediately changed. Previously, you would put the item in, you'd put your tentacle in, you'd put your eyes in, and you'd reroll it, and it would let you choose to keep those stats or keep your old stats. That is no longer how things work. You put it in, and it rerolls the bottom two stats regardless of what the new stats outcome. So you could put something in with really awesome health increase and really bad attack speed, and it could randomize it, and you could lose all of your health and still end up with a bad roll. That, in my opinion, is a terrible, terrible idea. It's just a lot of people are very angry on the forums about this, and I personally am a little bit. I mean, we'll all get used to it. Like I said, changes change, and the game is in beta, so things could change and be fixed or change to the player's likings. But right now, this is a very unwanted change. So just be extremely aware that when you go to re-roll your stats, they will be immediately changed. Whether it is good or bad, you do not get to choose. You can still re-roll your heart's content, though, and a good thing that came out of this is re-rolling only costs one tentacle now. So, I mean, I guess it's a good and a bad thing. Yeah, we'll see how that changes in the future. I really think that in the future it will change to where you will be able to save your stats. even if it comes at a slight increase in materials, I think that's worth it to be able to choose whether to keep your stats or change to the new ones. Rings. Let's talk about rings for a little bit. Right now, currently, rings kind of function half and half right now. Resplendent ring chests from the ring crafting profession will only drop shadow and resplendent rings of level 1 to 4. There are no more stars on rings, no more little appendice 8-star things. Right now, it's just random, just pure luck. In the future, however, it might they are going to be working on a specific way to reforge rings and add stats and increase their power. But currently, it's just a straight level 1, 2, 3, or 4 ring that drops out of the box. So, also, loot changed this week a little bit. Equipment drops with random bonus stats and random stars now instead of just the forge level. And Magic Find can also, I think I said this a little bit ago, but Magic Find also triggers up to Shadow level 4 drops, which actually increases the want for Shadow, or not. I'm sorry, not Shadow, but it increases the want for Magic Find a little bit, not a ton, but just enough to where a little bit of Magic Find never hurt anybody. Maybe on your ring or something. Let's see. In miscellaneous other news, the adventure box drop rate was nerfed quite a bit. However, they extended the stay of each box by another week. So now instead of 2 weeks, they will be there for 3 weeks, and that does include the bento box for this time as well. On that note as well, Thursday bonuses, that's the bonus to drops, monster drops and everything, is increased by an additional 100%. So now previously it was 100% increased drops, now it's 200%. So it's pretty much double, I think. Double drops. I think that's how it ends up being. 100% is double drops. Maybe it's triple. No, it's double. 200% is double. So I believe, don't quote me on that, it's 200% flat. I believe it maths out to be double drops. So yeah, and that does work on adventure boxes, pen blocks, and meounts as well. So that's always good. Boss chests also will now drop 3 items, and minor chests will drop 2. And I am being attacked by a pirate. Hello, Mr. Pirate, and goodbye, Mr. Pirate. Oh my gosh, he killed Chuck. Chuck, no, he killed Chuck. Oh my gosh, and I just interviewed him. Rest in peace, Chuck. Rest in peace, Chuck the Pirate. This week's episode is dedicated to Chuck the Pirate. I'm so sorry for the loss. You will be missed severely. So severely. A moment of silence for Chuck the Pirate, please. Okay. So sad, so sad. So that's really it. I do really recommend. I'm sure everyone or most people do anyway, but check out in the show notes. There is not only a link to the guide that I highly recommend everyone checks out, but also a link to the forums for the patch notes for this week. On there is a conversion chart of sorts for people's previous gear and what that ended up becoming in this patch, because they revamped all the gear and they modified all the old gear. I can tell you that if you had best in slot 8 starred shadow gear at Forge level 25, that is now max as high as you can get. It's level 24 or level 20. It is level 5 star with your 8 bonus appendices stars on it as well. But all the previous tiered gear, they have a nice little box at the bottom that converts everything, so you can take a gander at that and see how exactly your gear changed. Because I know some people's health went up, but their attack speed went up as well. Some people's attack speed and health went down, and it was just a big nerf. So there's a whole bunch of emotions going on about this week's patch, and we'll just have to ride along with it and see in the future how it maps out. Um, so yeah, and I know that this could be a little bit confusing, and I'm sure this wasn't the most exciting episode of What's Up with Trove, but someone's got to talk about it, and people have to talk about it. So, there's always fun, there's always eventful. I mean, come on, we got attacked by a pirate this week, right? That doesn't always happen. Um, ooh, uh, the stream stuff like that. I think my mic kept cutting out there. I apologize for that. But yeah, so that's going to be it for this week. Keep an eye out for next week's episode, but don't expect it. Not exactly sure, like I said, when we're doing my room. So if there is one, I don't even know if it will be recorded from my computer. Maybe I'll just turn on my laptop and talk about the patch notes. We'll see how it goes, but so yeah, that's pretty much it. Big changes incoming eventually, and big changes now, and big adjustments. The key thing, and I'll leave you guys at this, is remember, Trove is in beta. As much as it is polished and as awesome and smooth as it is to play, sometimes there are issues with the FPS and frame rates and everything. But remember, this game is still in beta, meaning it's still being tested. So things will change. I can guarantee you, things will change. And sometimes those changes are good, sometimes those changes are bad. So we have to get through the good and the bad, put them together. What do you have? The facts of life. I think. Maybe I got that wrong. Crap, what's that from? I don't even know what that's from. You know what? Let me Google it. The facts of life. Oh, I'm stupid. Oh my gosh. I can't believe I just did that. Nobody saw that. That wasn't recorded. That's Facts of Life from Facts of Life TV show. Um, yeah, so that's gonna be it for this week. As usual, you can find me on Twitter at Alan91330. The show notes are what's up with Trove at what's up with Trove.blogspot.com. My email is also on there as well. What's up with Trove at gmail.com. If you want to send me stuff via email, go for it. I check my email every day. But I definitely have to say the easiest way to get a hold of me is on the Trove forums or in game with the username Tiny, Tiny. No special characters, no numbers, just Tiny. And you can find me there. If you want to listen to the show because you want to put me in your car and take me everywhere you want to go, as creepy as that sounds, it's not as creepy as it sounds. But you can find me on SoundCloud and also on Stitcher Radio, if anybody uses that. I know I'm a big user. I think over this week I clocked 1,600 hours on Stitcher Radio. Big podcast app. Big podcast listener myself. That's why I make this podcast. It sounded fun, and nobody was talking about Trove, so I want to talk about Trove. But yeah, and of course you can find me on YouTube and Reddit and all other forms of social media. But the big ones are Twitter, my email, and Ingame or on the forums. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and sign out, and I will see you guys hopefully next week, if not in 2 weeks. Yeah. Pirate. Pirate, would you look at me, please? Ah, Mr. Pirate.